name's Terry Lynch. I'm with Oregon Ufology. I found myself searching for a passageway one day. And that passageway leads right across the complete section of the Cascades, which I'm sitting in front of at the moment. On top of one peak. I want to make sure that everybody sees the type of things that we find in the process of research for ufology. I have located a couple that's sitting here on the top of Blind Peak. She's facing south. He's facing north.
The Middle, Cascadia Guides, alleged production, in conjunction with Alien Strand Films.
What's up, everyone? This is Arizona Gallegos, and you're listening to Alien Strand Podcast with Donald Ledesma. Check out my Facebook page at Arizona's Secret Backyard. Hit me a like, share, and follow. I'll see you there.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Ledesma, and welcome to today's show. Man, it's going to be an amazing show today. Of course, we got Miss June DeYoung. She's going to come back here on the show. And, we had a little technical difficulties, but we're going to bring her on audio today only. And, we're going to be talking about Area 51, Dr. Lier, and all the things, how she met him, and then her stories from the background. But before we get going, welcome to Alien Strand Podcast. We're on 26, 27 platforms, iHeartRadio, Spotify, CastBox, Deezer. You can even ask Alexa, and she'll pay you some Alien Strand Podcast, man. I'm telling you, if you want to be a guest in the show, give me a call, man, or send me up an instant message. I'll be glad to put you up on this show. Now, I'll have the link to this show. All my links will be on there, and all of June DeYoung's links will be on the end of this show, on this podcast today. So, if you get to listen to it at the very end, just look at the information at the very bottom of the screen, and you'll be able to catch all. You can follow her, and you can follow me as well, and just kind of visit all the pages that we have there for you guys to see. And if you haven't seen The Middle Part 2, it's out already, man. It's on Skylight 1. Go check it out. Skylight 1 channel there on Facebook. I'll put a link to that as well, so you guys can go check out The Middle 2. It's on there, and of course, The Middle Part 1 is live, and it's free on YouTube. So go check it out there as well. And, what more can you ask for free, man? You can't beat that with a stick. Go check that out, all right? So, like I said, don't forget to catch us on all these other platforms as well. Now, right now, we're going to be only on Patreon for this podcast. Thank you guys for being subscribers and members to Patreon. Please share our Patreon link to everybody out there, so that way we can, get some more people to, be there with us and listen to all of our good energy in our podcast that we have. Because you know what? June DeYoung, she has a lot of great energy. And, it's just one of those things that we have to get her back on the show to finish up everything that we were talking about, right? So what more can we ask for? But let's go ahead and get her on the show now, so that way we can talk to her, and we'll just bring her up on the show. So on the phone now is Miss June DeYoung. Hello, are you there?
I'm here.
Right on.
Hi, everybody.
Well, thank you for being on the show today. I know that we had a lot of technical difficulties on that last one. I don't even know what was going on there, but it just seemed like it was
crazy.
Yeah, it was like every time you would come off and then all these glitching. Because I actually last night I was sitting outside. I drank a couple of beers and I was playing it back. I was playing it back, right? I wanted to hear what was going on, and it's not bad at all. But it's just there's a couple little glitches in there, and I'm glad that today we're going to throw it on audio. And so the people can understand exactly what happened. Now today we're going to be talking about Area 51, the alien heads, and Dr. Lier. Now so people who don't know who you are, let's go ahead and reintroduce you back in, and can you tell everybody out there what you do?
Well, I'm Miss UFO, foremost. That's my foremost title. All right. I mean, it's like a pageant title. I'm Miss UFO. Okay. Anyway, so I'm Miss UFO. I'm psychic medium to the stars. So you can find me on Facebook, of course, with these titles. And I have a June Young fan page. I was a news reporter, but, the way the news is now, yeah, we're not doing that. So anyway, I studied that, which is nuts. I've been an actress, a writer, a model, commercial actress. I've done a bunch of movies, and I was a writer for a UFO magazine, right? And that's when I started having a lot of heavy-duty encounters pretty much nightly.
Wow.
Which was really something.
I believe it.
And that's when Roger Lier came in. Pretty wild.
Okay. So tell us the story.
But I'm a psychic medium to a lot of people, and I by the way, I wanted to tell you. I'm sorry to cut you. I didn't mean to do that.
No, go ahead.
But I just wanted to tell. I got all excited. Sorry. So I started a therapy hotline for people that had alien encounters, and I got this Lighthouse Network to back me up with it. No joke. And it was like 1-800 whatever, and it had 3 aliens in the logo and promotional material, right? And because I was helping so many abductees,
right?
They were in fear and everything to come down from it. I still do that. So if anybody out there needs help, just reach out to me. And find me on Facebook, and you can write me in Miss UFO or whatever you want, and send me a little message, and I will get back to you. But put your number in there, because nobody puts their number in there, and then it's like, what?
Right.
What? How do I contact you? I mean, I know I have antenna, but I don't have like I don't have one of those chips in my head yet, like Elon Musk did.
Well, there's too many people out there to begin with, just to try to pinpoint which one or who's who. But yeah, I mean, if you do contact her on Facebook or anywhere, just put your email in there, phone number, whatever, so she can get in contact with you. So let's go back. Let's talk about Area 51. Do you remember about what date or about what year it was when you went out there?
Oh, it was like 1994, pretty much. And I got detained out there. That was pretty cool. That was fun. I just waited outside for an hour.
Wow.
It took them an hour. What the heck? Are they like lagging or something? Are they low on employees? What is going on?
Yeah.
Send an alien. What are you doing?
Right. I mean, so what was the whole point of doing that? I mean, what was your the whole thing of just going out there and doing this?
Well, I was shooting a pilot, and I was with Kim Carlsberg, who was an abductee. I was with her, and I was shooting a pilot, and I went around to all of the alien sites and the little alien and all that kind of stuff, and we actually shot there, which was pretty wild. And we met with Norio Hayakawa and Lier of Learjet,
right?
And we discussed stuff, and they gave us maps of where to go in the desert, which was really cool. And we didn't see any UFOs there. What's really funny is, like, I saw a UFO with Craig Campabasso. Your audience may know him. Mm-hmm. He did Dune, and he was a casting director. He's still a casting director. He's awesome. What an awesome man. And he wrote some alien books that they could check out. And he and I and a guy named, he was a count, Spanish count, Anthony Padu, and Anthony had been my co-host on another show. Pretty crazy. Another alien kind of show. I was always, doing alien shows. Anyway, so it was like a talk show, interview show, and we had just come back from the studio, and we went to my place, and we went out on the deck, and we saw this object, just like boom, 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 and it was just insane the way it moved.
Wow.
And we were like, oh my God, that is totally craft. Well, three or more gathered, I guess. Right?
So it was zigzagging.
You know what I mean?
Was it zigzagging? Was it kind of zigzagging?
Yeah.
That's what it was doing? Okay.
Yeah. It was making triangles. It was just insane. I mean, it was like, oh my God. We were like, oh my God. We couldn't believe it. And it was after we taped, But, when I would go to Craig's house and he's in like Northern California, a little north, of LA, I guess you can say.
Right.
I would go to his house. I would feel buzzing. I mean, I feel like my energy go all the way up. You know what I mean?
Wow.
There's always these weird sounds. Sometimes you get a humming sound or like I've had experiences with pictographs, which are in the Keys of Enoch book.
Uh-huh.
I went through all the pictographs. I mean, it was really weird. I spoke with JJ Hertek, and he said to me, oh my God, you did that one and that one and that one and that one. And I said, yeah, but there's this other one. Let me sketch it out for you. And there's this other one. Let me sketch it out for you. And he goes, oh yeah, that's past the point. Whoa.
Wow.
He says, you're in it. He says, nobody's ever come to me with that kind of experience. But, it was really funny because when I met Lier, by the way, I'm just going to go to that, he gave me a test. So I got this test, this exam, and I filled it out. Like, when did you have an experience? Da-da-da-da-da-da. How long did you have this? Did you have that? Did you have that?
Right.
And then apparently, I'm like double what other people have.
Wow.
I reach for the stars, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he said, you are way beyond anything that we've encountered so far.
This is Richard.
And that's when he put
Richard Lier,
huh?
right? Richard, was that Richard Lier?
Oh no! This was Dr. Roger Lier.
Oh, Roger. Yeah.
Roger Lier.
Roger.
Yeah, Dr. Roger Lier. And Roger, Roger came to me because so I was writing these articles and I interviewed Tracy Torme, who did Fire in the Sky, right? And went to the premiere with Robert Patrick and all that stuff. Anyway, so and did the alien articles and all these different interviews. And so Richard Hatch at Battlestar Galactica, interviewed him and all that kind of stuff. And every time I interviewed somebody, they would want to be interviewed between like 1 and 5 in the morning. And so I would be up doing that and then, sleep 2 hours and then go again, and that's the way my whole life is still now.
Wow.
But I would have these experiences for those 2 hours. Like I would feel like my body expand. Like it was like there's this big circle above my bed and it would have those pictographs in it, right? Like some of them look like ducks, some look like notes, right? Piano notes. I mean, it's really weird. You could see them in the Keys of Enoch. And it was weird. And I didn't know that they were in the Keys of Enoch, okay, until Richard, who read the book backwards and forwards 5 times, okay, Richard Hatch, and he said, what you're describing is in that book. I said, where? Because I just would open the book at night. I would just open it, read a page, whatever I opened to.
Wow.
That's the way I read that book. I never read it front to back. I never had time, And I like to do that. You just open it, you go, okay, what am I supposed to read now? And so I never saw the pictograph until he pointed them out to me. And I was like, whoa, this is like intense. And so it was weird because it's above your bed, it's like a big circle, and the circle expands and it gets like a fuzzy gray white, no joke, like a storm cloud. How's that? And then you see these symbols and they light up. They actually light up above your body. And then your body feels like, oh, it feels like every cell in your body is expanding to the nth degree, like someone's stretching every part of you out.
Oh, wow.
I can't even imagine. It was insane. And then it like takes you to the next level, right? The next level of consciousness. So I didn't know that, but it does. And so what happens is, I learned all about this stuff. So I would go down, I'd walk down the street in Studio City, Reseda, Encino, whatever. I'm walking around, and guys would come over to me, and they would like tilt their head, and then they would hand me their card and say, "Please call me," like that. It was the weirdest thing. I was like in the Stepfordville.
Wow.
It was like everybody was hypnotized or something, and it was the oddest thing I had encountered.
Wow.
But people were just drawn to me, and it was amazing. It was an amazing time, and I went through all of those processes so that I could help other people through, I guess, you know what I mean, their pain and their fears and their PTSD over alien experiences, and they could tell me anything.
So
I don't judge anybody.
So that experience that you had, what you talked about, the UFO crap that kind of zigzagged and everything, and then you saw it, and then you experienced this energy as well, and this is what you were telling Lier, correct? I mean, and then so all this is actually unfolding within what, days, weeks? What is it?
Oh no, days.
Days.
And then days. And then good question. The other thing was, so I had this encounter that like I felt like someone was next to my bed, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is going on? And I opened my eyes and I saw this, like, and it's funny because people sculpted aliens for me, right? You know,
right.
When they heard that I saw this alien. And I was always attracted to, by the way, cars with that metallic paint. You know, that metallic shimmery paint?
Yeah.
The white ones?
Yeah.
The white ones with that weird shimmery paint. Okay. I wanted that car so bad, right? So anyway, but I had already classic cars and stuff. So it was like, oh my God. And so, so this alien was, it was about like, I guess 3-4 feet tall, right? Big black eyes, right? And he had, his skin was iridescent. It was iridescent. That's the word for it. White iridescent.
Right. Wow.
It was amazing.
Wow.
And I saw him. Now, so my friend says, "You gotta talk to Roger Lier." I said, "Who's Roger Lier?" "I talked to Roger Lier." "Who's Roger Lier?" Like that, right? So that's how I got introduced to Roger. He comes over and he shuts all the lights out and he takes out a black light, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's phosphorescent feet, and you could see the little feet. The little feet, they're like the size of my hands.
Wow.
But they're like smaller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like if I took my thumbs and put them in, how's that?
Right.
And it's like my 2 little hands. It's even smaller than that, but it's thinner than that, you know. But anyway, but you could see. I mean, oh my God! And they don't like walk 1 foot in front of the other. It's like it's almost like 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet. It's not like they put 1 foot in front of the other.
Wow.
It's the weirdest thing that we saw. So we saw the 2 feet. It's like they bunny hop, you know. Hey, I was a bunny. I'm into it. So it was like bunny hopped in my bed. You know,
wow.
I mean, maybe they like my purple satin sheets, hey, and my blue lights. I used to have blue lights. I go, yeah, this is, well, you know, I used to tell Roger I was most likely to be abducted, so I had to have the blue light, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Blue sconces and light.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
So that's how, I mean, I knew nothing about this stuff, you know, I had no idea. I didn't think I was going to be like part of this program.
So
what
was,
and then he
what was his
back, huh?
What was his take on you? Like, what did he tell you as far as like, okay, so you're in contact with, you are a contactee or you're an abductee, or did he say, you, I mean, what category did he put you in? In other words, Lier.
Well, he said I'm different than everybody.
Okay.
He said it's different than everybody because, like, they like me too much.
Right.
So it's like, which I'm wearing my alien T-shirt right now while I'm talking to you. Hello, with
right
a little
on.
UFO on it. It says "just visiting." Anyway,
Nice.
so I was like, seriously. I mean, I wear a little hat with an alien on it and stuff, and everybody stops me now. Still, isn't that sort of funny? They stop me now and they're like, "Hey, do you believe in aliens? Let me tell you a story."
Yeah.
And I mean, who thought I would buy this baseball cap in the men's department of Walmart and it's going to be like the thing for me out in the desert? Who the heck thought in a million years, you know? But it's brought me back into the scope, and I meet you, right? And so and I got to tell you, Roger Lier, so he comes over and he's like, I want to share something with you, because he was doing the alien implant video then, right?
Right.
Which no one's seen it. Go watch it. And so, and I have a friend who's a famous celebrity who's a comedian who had one of them taken out of him.
Oh, wow.
Because Roger was a podiatrist.
Right.
So Roger could do the surgeries and junk. So he did the surgeries. So, and these things were on my dining table. He brought them onto my dining table.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, cool. And it was in those compartments, you know, that you would like put your like screws in and stuff like that, you know, your nails and your screws and your stuff like that. Anyway, he put all of these in there. There were little gold balls. They were so cool. I got to play with those. And then there were these things that look like boomerangs, and they, you know, and like arrowheads, boomerangs, and he said that they put acid on them and all these different chemicals, and they couldn't even make a hole in it. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't damage it. And he had a whole bunch of those. And I mean, I played with each one of them. Wow. There were like 20 different kinds of alien implants on my dining table.
Wow.
I was like, wow. I mean, I wish we had cell phones and I would have taken a picture, and I didn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't want to say, can I take my camera out and take pictures? This is really cool. Yeah. What are we doing? You know, and, you know, but, you know, we had pagers then, you know?
Wow.
So anyway,
yeah.
So, yeah. And so it was amazing to get to play with all the implants that got taken out of people's bodies. And he had a whole bunch of celebrities that had them. Not that means anything.
What did he
I mean, I'm not like, I love everybody. Go ahead.
Did he say anything to you like what the alien implants did, or how they affected the people before and after they took it out? Did he say if there was any kind of effect? Like, in other words, I feel that it's a sort of a tracking device of some sort. They always know where you're at, and it's basically that. Now, as far as control or anything like that, maybe they kind of mess with your psyche a little bit, or consciousness in a sense, maybe with that device as well. I don't know. But did he say that there was any kind of change in people after it was removed?
Oh, yeah. And he also said that the aliens came back and did it again.
Oh, wow.
Took them again and did it again. Once they got taken out, they got upset, and they did it again. And he said each one of them said that the aliens were clearly upset with him for taking it out. And I thought, well, if I got one of me, don't be taking it out, Roger. We ain't taking it out. Hello.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, they did a weird ultrasound on me once in Burbank Hospital at St. Joseph's, and they gave me all this water, and they're like, okay, you know, you have to stay here. And I'm like, oh my God, please hurry. And they're on my stomach, and you know, the doctor and the nurse are there, and the nurse is like, okay, take a look at this. What the heck is that? On my right side, right?
Wow.
What the heck is that?
Yeah.
And so she goes over it again, and the doctor goes, I don't know. And he goes, wait here. And he gets 8 doctors. 8 doctors are over me. I felt like I was under a microscope. 8 doctors are there, and they're like, wow.
Wow.
That's okay. Wow. And I go, what is it? What's going on? Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. You're fine. Oh! To this day, I still don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But I would assume it's probably that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would assume they probably see that in people and don't say anything at the hospital.
Right.
I would assume, you know, especially in Burbank where most comedians go, you know.
Right.
And well, most comedians die in Burbank, you know, on stage. But anyway. And I had my near death, and I went there after, you know, it was just really funny, you know. I mean, that was a whole other scenario, but we'll talk about that later.
Well,
but yeah.
Wow.
So that was very strange. So I think I'm not a chip head, but I got a chip in my body somewhere.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, I know a lot of people get it, but a lot of people do get this symptom before they witness a craft or after something's gone by. Their ears are ringing constantly, some almost to where it's unbearable. Do you ever get that kind of ringing in the ears?
I didn't get ringing. I got pressure.
Pressure. Okay.
I got pressure, but the pressure came from the pictograph.
Okay.
I had pressure. It felt like whoa, you know. And then it was really interesting. I mean, talk about intuition. My intuition was off the chain after each pictograph.
Right.
Oh my God. It was like, you know, I told my friend Sylvie lotto numbers and she didn't play them, and guess what? They came out the next day.
Wow. Yeah, I think you told me that story. Wow.
I said, you're my friend. You of all people should have done that. You of all people should have ran out to a shopping center and just like got it at a food store. What are you doing?
Wow.
But it went out. She said, I would have been a millionaire. Oh man, did I hear that story for years?
I bet you did. I bet you did. I would have been. I would have been the same way. Kick myself in the butt if I would have not done anything like that. But now let's go forward. Let's go forward a little bit more. Okay. So you were talking about alien heads, right? You had talked to me about something like that. Now explain to me what we're kind of getting into that part of it.
Well, Roger Lier and I became really good buds over the years, and we would go have breakfast and all that kind of crazy stuff, and we'd talk about, like, you know, and he'd have Geiger counters, and I learned all about this stuff. I learned about, like, if you stand next to your microwave, if it's not unplugged and you're not using it and it's plugged in, it will take 40% of the energy from your body.
What?
You have to stand 10 feet away. He had these meters, and we metered it. You have to stand 10 feet away from that microwave, okay? And when it's not on, when it's on, you're in deep trouble.
Wow.
That's how bad a microwave is, right?
Yeah.
Now, he had all that equipment. So I would say to him, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going on another trip. I'd be like, okay, Roger. And so, I mean, we were buds. We talked almost every day. And so he says, hey, come to the Roosevelt Hotel. This abductee is singing tonight. No joke. It was this blonde woman. I was trying to think of her name because, she was singing there. And we went to the Roosevelt. We had dinner with her and her friend, and it was Roger and I ordered mashed potatoes because, you know, Close Encounters. You got to have mashed potatoes.
All right.
So right? You got to make a mound,
That's
you know,
right.
and you just got to be there. And by the way, I did over Richard Dreyfuss's house. Sort of funny, right?
Yeah.
I feng shuied Richard Dreyfuss's house. Kevin Costner bought it. Sort of funny. And then Ryan Seacrest bought it. But it was, yeah. Who thought in a million years Richard Dreyfuss's house later on? But, you know, things like that you attract. So anyway, I'm sitting there with Roger, and Roger goes, I got to go to Mexico. And I go, for what? He goes, well, he says, they found these alien heads in Mexico. And I said, get out. He says, yeah, there's like 6 of them.
Oh, wow.
I said, 6 alien heads in Mexico? He goes, yeah, I got to go pick them up because they want me. And I said, who does? He says, I can't talk about it. I said, okay, you can't talk about it. All right, that's fine. We talk about everything. How come you can't tell me no?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What you doing?
Wow.
Right? What you doing, Will? So anyway, so he said, yeah. And he says, this is a rare find, and this is really big. And he said they have identified that they are aliens, and they want me to do tests with them.
Oh, wow.
And I went, okay. You know, and I mean, you know, I did stuff with him and Whitley Strieber. I mean,
Yeah.
It's like, you know, hello, you know, I mean, we can talk about that one next. But it's like, but it was like, whoa. And he said, yeah. I mean, he was given stuff that you can't even believe.
Wow.
He was handed until he passed on, and he passed on recently, you know. And I miss talking to him. I miss having him around. He saved my life, you know, once when I was dying, and he saved me, and I'll never forget it. I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
If it wasn't for Roger. So I have a lot to thank him for, and he was always there for me. But the other thing is, so then I saw this UFO, right, in Calabasas, and I did the Art Bell show and stuff like that, and a bunch of other shows. You know, David Letterman's friend, you know, they wanted me to do the show. I did this other show on it, and, you know, LaShawn David Morton was on it. He verified that, yes, the UFOs are there, and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so it was right across. I had a view of this site, and the UFO went, over my house, and
Right.
and then yada yada, the cows, right? So then Roger goes and he gets the evidence, and then Whitley Strieber. I always wanted to meet Whitley or even talk to him.
I know.
was like,
I bet you he's
oh
an
my
interesting guy. I bet you he's an interesting guy to talk to. Like,
cool guy.
Right.
Him and Bud Hopkins, so cool,
Yeah.
so cool. They were cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. Talk to them.
Yeah.
And so it was so Whitley had the same thing I had. I had a crunchy in my left ear. I call it a crunchy, right? Maybe you guys out there have ever had a crunchy, and you're like, what the heck is that thing? What is that? And it felt like I had glass in my ear. I thought, this is like really weird. Like, and I don't mean inside. I mean like the lobe part. I was like, I touch it, and then I say to my chiropractor even, I go, touch that, right? Because my chiropractor was all into this stuff. And so he touches it, and he's like, what the heck? I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
He goes, and that happened just after I saw that UFO. Not only the scoop mark on the inside of my right leg, but the that little thing. And so Whitley said, by the way, that I had brought the foremost evidence in light, to the public, and no one found me. There were imploded trees.
Wow.
Crazy. At Fahrenheit that were insane. Totally insane. So they did all the testing on it. So he was so excited. So we all did a show together. And Whitley had the same thing on the same ear.
Oh, wow. Wow.
The same time.
Well, he's got his own podcast, right? He's got his own podcast.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know
He's got his own podcast. One of my friends was actually on his show.
Get out! That's so cool.
Well, because they caught this UFO here in Texas. And it's called Port Lavaca, Texas, and it was a nice looking craft when they caught. And of course, the video got out there, went a little viral. Not real big, but he got wind of it and got them on the show. And so yeah, he's into it. Still to today. Of course, when you experience something like that. What he experienced. Yeah. Like I tell everybody, once you see it, you can't unsee it anymore. Once you experience it, you can't unexperience it. Right? It's always going to be. It's always going to be with you. Always. Right? And that's what I feel that it's happened to you as well, as far as the extraterrestrial and spiritual sides. Because to me they interact. Within the same dimensions as well. Right? So what did he get out of the alien heads? Did he find out something special about it before he passed away, or was it just became an open case, or are those the same ones they're talking about, the Peru aliens, those little small ones like they have in Mexico now?
Yeah, not like Peru, but they verified that it is for sure.
Right.
The real aliens. It is for sure.
Wow. Yeah,
and he didn't give me like an age of when it went down or anything like that. He didn't give me that, but they verified it for sure. I was waiting. I was like, let me know if they're real. Right. Let me know. Like this is small children or something crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, let me know. And he's like, no, this is totally for real. Wow. That's the first time I ever heard of anything like that, was like alien heads. You know what I mean? Like, what? And because no one out of all the scientists, look, I know 100 scientists out of over that now, but they all never had that. They weren't ever given that. Roger was given the most coolest, weirdest stuff. Right. And
as scientists, basically most of us, or mostly everybody out there, I don't care who you are, it's a lot of, especially on the extraterrestrial thing, it's a lot of speculation, right? So it's like they go by the science, the mathematics, they go back in history, and they look at things that match up, and that could be extraterrestrial or anything, right? But everything was it's like a big hypothesis, right, of what could have happened, or maybe it's like you always see that in the History Channel. Maybe this was what happened, and maybe this or that. But to actually have physical freaking evidence in your hand that you're
Right.
holding an alien's head, right? That's not supposed to exist, right? There's not
Right.
people are not supposed to believe in aliens, but you're holding it in your hand, right? And then it comes out this, well, this is we found out, we ran DNA samples, of course, what was it? Probably before 2014, because that's when he passed, right? But I mean, I'm sure they still had really good DNA results. So, and for it to come out, fully 100% extraterrestrial, you hold it in your hand. There's the physical evidence, right? Who has that? How is that possible? And then in a scientific analogy or the way you try to break things down, okay, now it's not mathematics anymore. Now it's physical because I have it in my hand.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's the freaked out part about it, But as a lot of people experience these things, they tell you the stories, and it's just like I tell everybody, man. I don't care. You can be sitting there, talking. You can be outside in your in the front seat of your car. You see a freaking UFO land right next to you. The guy comes out and starts talking to you. You can videotape the whole thing. Nobody still ain't gonna. They ain't gonna believe you. They're not gonna believe you.
No.
And that's the crazy part about it. It's like, when you have something physical like that, especially an alien's head, I bet you that was an eye-opening experience for him at the time. Did he tell you anything about that?
Oh, he was in awe. He says the people that brought this to me, and he said he felt honored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To have been given that, because but they knew he wouldn't say anything. I mean, he said it to me only because, like, I saw that little being, you know what I mean? And he, you know what I mean? And I described it, and then we saw the little feet and the whole thing, and he knew, it was like, and it was way back when, and it's like, he knew I wasn't going to, say anything then or whatever. Now I'm talking about it. But because it came, into my being now, and now we're all talking about,
right.
What should I say? We're all talking about aliens. We're all talking about uncovering UFO evidence.
Right.
It's on the news. It's regular. So now we can talk about that stuff. I'm surprised that they haven't even uncovered that on any channel.
Right.
I'm really surprised. But I mean, I was just like, whoa,
Yeah.
because I hear people go, oh yeah, I got this evidence and I got these sounds, and I mean, please, they wrecked most of my electronics. I was always buying electronics after I had an encounter. Oh my God, laptops, iPads, phones, pagers, all brand new stuff again.
Wow.
Appliances. I mean, my appliances would go, and now that was normal. That's normal after an encounter. Appliances will lock up. My stove locked up. Cost me an arm and a leg to get the guy to try to figure out how to unlock it. He goes, what happened? I heard this buzzing sound. Like that, really loud, and it wasn't a fire alarm.
Yeah.
And I said, and then that happened. And then he went to my neighbor's house. This was really fun. My neighbor had the same thing. Then he went to my other neighbor's house. Neighbor had the same thing.
Wow.
Because he goes, is this happening just to you here or what? And I go, let's go to my neighbors.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And they all had it too, and they all heard the buzz.
Oh, wow.
They all heard the buzz. And there's one woman, she works for United Airlines, by the way.
Uh-huh.
And she and she saw the UFO with her husband. So she saw it, and she says, I know flight stuff. I know craft. I know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was heavy duty with the lights and the whole 9 yards.
Wow. Well, she saw it.
This is beyond.
Yeah.
She saw it.
Wow.
She actually saw it with her husband. They both saw it together. They started drinking after.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to have a highball. And I'm like, what? And I go, yeah, I don't drink. But, okay, go ahead.
Wow. Wow. Well, I mean,
I want to stay aware and conscious.
Yeah, and it happens. I mean, it happens. People just freak out. They just don't understand what they're seeing. And the only way to kind of cloud it up is have a couple of drinks to kind of relax and say, all right, let me wrap my mind around what I just saw, and let me do whatever I have to do just to calm down here just for a minute. But
oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, did Lier ever get into any other things as far as like of course the implants and how he did things, But was there anything else that he encountered that maybe he told you about?
Well, he interviewed like hundreds and hundreds. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of abductees.
Right.
You know, and he said that they felt that they were being given. This is really interesting. Very different things in life. Like they'd be doing one thing as a career,
right,
and they would shift their career.
Right.
And he said all of a sudden they were all creative.
Oh,
and
wow.
all of a sudden, like, the men became more feminine.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So he said a lot of the men became more feminine, and he said, and they just started painting and creating and sculpting and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Which I found interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Personality change
right.
came about. And I don't know if that's from an implant or just the energy of an abduction. We were discussing it, you know.
I mean, was it more of a as you say, personality change? Is it more of a PTSD kind of scared personality, or more of a strong-willed kind of, I'm going to figure this out, I'm going to find out what exactly happened to me? Is it that kind? I mean, did you ever tell you anything?
Well, he did have a whole bunch of people in fear. That's why I started that hotline thing.
Right.
He had a whole bunch of people in fear.
Okay.
Look, I was in fear. I used to run from my house to the car. I used to be like someone's watching me. I'd be up all night. I couldn't sleep. I'd be up all night. I'd be like, oh my God. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
They're outside. I know they're outside. I'm not going on the deck.
Yeah.
I gotta walk the dog. How am I gonna walk the dog? What am I gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta walk the dog. So I take the dog in the backyard, and then I take the dog in the house.
Wow.
I had such fear that I can't even tell you. And that was 1989, 90 to 91. I mean, the fear was insane. And then all of a sudden, this was the weirdest thing. All of a sudden, I was like, yeah, I don't want this relationship anymore. Now, that's another thing that Roger and I would discuss.
Yeah.
People were leaving their relationships, and relationships were breaking up, right?
Well.
And even if they both had encounters,
yeah,
they were splitting. They were divorcing. They were splitting. They were moving out. They were whatever. So I was like, oh, I'm leaving this guy. And I had lost immediately 25 pounds. Like immediately, it was like boom off of me.
Wow.
I mean, it was like the weirdest thing. Within 1 month, I lost 25 pounds. And I'm not joking. I'm not lying. I'm not joking. This happened to me because my ex-boyfriend, you know, he was my boyfriend at the time, came home and went, what happened to you? I was just here 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
How did you do that? And I started wearing these mini dresses, these sexy outfits, these
Yeah.
so weird. And I had been so conservative before that, right?
Right.
I was doing infomercials and junk like that, and I was and I was doing the house over, and I was just so conservative, and I just changed into this thing that went, you know what? No, I'm going to Hollywood. This is good. I bought these little red boots, it was insane. It was insane. People were, when I did the show, people were talking about my legs. Is that hilarious?
Wow.
Instead of like the content of what I was talking about,
Right.
we're interviewing somebody who, you know, was a famous author of UFO alien books. And it was insane. So but when I changed that personality, my whole life changed. Everything changed. And I moved out. I left him with the house and the furniture and everything. I didn't care. I took my cat, took the car, moved into I went from 3,500 square feet to a 750 square foot apartment, happier than a clam.
Wow.
And everything was given to me. Like if I went to a store and I wanted to buy a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Right? And let's say it's $1,500.
Yeah.
It was given to me for $700.
Oh, wow.
And I was sort of like, how did that happen?
Right.
I mean, and that happened. That happened. No joke. Maybe the store's closed now, but yeah, that happened.
Wow.
And I got that. It wasn't like it was dented, not at all or anything. And they're like, free delivery, we'll get it done. I got everything handed to me. after that. And the fear went away. The fear was gone. And then all of a sudden, I was just like, this is just before I met Roger. And everything just started happening.
Wow.
I was like, wow, my life just shifted. And that's the time when I had the 100 scientists in my house and the lights were blinking like Close Encounters.
Right.
Wow. And so anyway, so it was funny, but that happened to a whole bunch of people. I started, because I got to know a lot of people that, like there was a guy named Steven. He actually made aliens. He's pretty famous for it. He makes aliens for movies and TV shows and stuff. So he would sculpt aliens and everything. And him and his wife were split, and they were just figuring out how they were going to, move out of the house and do all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just like, it's an instant thing. It's an instant thing. And so I don't know if it's because to me, the aliens have more feminine energy. All of them. Oh, and I saw a Nordic, right? And that was cool, with like a waterfall of beautiful, colorful energy over the Nordic, like rainbow colors, like rainbow waterfalls of light over the Nordic. I was like, wow, because I didn't know what it was. I never knew. I don't know what they called them. Those. I mean, I never encountered that, and nobody ever told me about them till I saw it, and then I described it to Roger, and I'm like, hey, Roger, what is this? He goes, it's a Nordic.
Yeah.
I go, okay, and then he showed me pictures. I was like, okay. And, so I've encountered 4 different alien types.
Wow.
5, actually. I'm sorry, 5. Because that little iridescent one, we'll count that little iridescent one in there.
There's a lot of different kinds out there, too. And they almost look the same. Some of them almost look the same. But they're a little different. Some are a little taller. Some might have a larger head or just, no ears. It's kind of strange how some of them look. I mean, I do have a few pictures of a few of those. And, you always think, they're Palladians, right? When you say Palladians and Nordics, a lot of people think that just because you're saying that it's this, kind of 6 foot, blonde haired, blue eyed person that's going to be walking around. And actually, a lot of them they look like freaking grays, and they got the big eyes, things like that. Right. There's different types, different types of them. And then, of course, there is Nordics, there is Palladians that almost look human. They had the blonde, blue hair.
Oh, yeah,
blue eyes
the
and all
Palladians.
That. Yeah. So, I mean, and because the Pallades, there's apparently what I've been researching for the past is that a lot of these gray aliens, come from that constellation, right? And then so a lot of these human-looking ones as well come from the same constellation. So they're real close together, and so a lot of people do get confused when you're saying the Pallades or Palladians or whatever, because they could you could be talking about a gray or you could be talking about the blondes, right? And so that's what I've noticed with the differences when I hear people say Nordics and blondes, and it's kind of hard to kind of picture what they're saying, but it's the way it is. There's so many different species out there that people have experienced. Now, before we close out, I mean, what's some good advice for you to give somebody out there that has actually encountered an extraterrestrial and having some maybe PTSD issues or don't know how to explain it to folks? What's your best advice you can give somebody out there?
Well, the interesting thing is, I find that music that's tonal, like, for example, Stephen Halpern. I interviewed Stephen Halpern. He walked away from a devastating accident, and then he was able to do his music. And his subliminal music is great. It has positive subliminal. It's not like embedded with negative subliminal, right?
Right.
Which is really great. But he's very, what should I say? I would joke with him and stuff, and he'd go, huh, like that. Anyways, I was trying to like rib him several times.
Right.
He's such a great guy, and I love him. And he gave me like all his CDs, which was very kind of him. He didn't have to do that. And I got to play all of them. And I noticed that after an encounter, the Bell Chakra Suite, it's called Spectrum Suite as well, that you can find and stream on Amazon. If you got Prime, you can stream for free, right?
Nice.
So you do that, and it actually not only tones you up, like, and tunes you up,
Right.
makes you feel safe in a weird way. And that's really good. And he's got a bunch of albums. He's got a relaxation suite and lake suite and things like that really are amazing. It relaxes you tremendously. I try to stay away from the music that you see on YouTube, certain Reiki music and things like that, because you don't know what subliminal messages are underneath.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that's the scary part. But that will relax a person, you know? I used to do yoga, but and then these things happened, and I never did yoga after to calm myself down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Instead, I did more caffeine. Sort of funny, right? I went towards caffeine. Caffeine actually helps a lot, which is sort of weird.
Yeah,
I just gotta say that.
I drink a lot of
Caffeine?
coffee. I drink a lot of coffee.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a tea person now, but I was a coffee person for years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I was just like, gotta have coffee, gotta have a coffee, gotta have a coffee. And that did something to take the edge off, which I found fascinating. It's, and again, the comfort foods, of course, you know what I mean? The mashed potatoes,
Right.
those kinds of things. I would have pasta and mashed potatoes, and I still was 109 pounds, you know, ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so and because when you have this kind of thing, your adrenaline's going 50,000 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to say 50,000 miles an hour. I'm not exaggerating, because it's sort of like you're on a UFO and you're like speeding around, you know,
Right.
and you feel like you're on speed. And it's funny that the coffee helps you, even though you feel like you're on speed, because you're like, you know, like that.
Yeah.
And but the music is number one, you know, number one. Incense didn't help me, nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, I use incense to clear houses now, and that's a different story. But the none of that helped me. I couldn't sit still.
Wow.
I could not sit still. I find that a lot of people need to do creative stuff.
Right.
Arts and crafts, painting. That helps tremendously. Painting is a really great outlet, you know,
Yeah.
for it all. The other stuff is like, when you go traveling, it's almost scarier. So it's almost better to be at home and inside and keep yourself comfy and wrap yourself in. Now they have those weighted blankets. I think that is such a genius idea,
Yeah.
because then you feel safe with the weighted blanket.
Right.
You know, I hid under a blanket, by the way. 3 aliens were in my bedroom. What happened was different kinds. And I went to sleep in the bedroom. I was all alone in the house, right, with my dog. My dog's upstairs, and the dog's running around. The animals will go nuts, right?
Yeah.
So the dog's running around doing circles upstairs, right? Normally cats do that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But this dog's doing circles, donuts. Totally never did that. Totally trippy Charles. Never did that. Anyway, so I hear the dog. You can hear him. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I hear him, and I'm laying there, and then I hear, now I had no carpet on the stairs because I was about to put in black and white carpet, because it was the 1920s I was bringing the house to, right?
Right.
So I hear on the wood stairs, I hear boom, 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 like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like someone walking down the stairs.
Right.
Like a big man. And I'm like, who the heck's in the house? I didn't have an alarm system on the house, right? Who's in my house? Who the heck's in my house? So I was like, uh-oh. I put my head under the covers, right? You know, like a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
And and then it stopped. So I know, shoot, they're in the bedroom, and you could feel this like magnetic energy. You could feel this like, I mean, oh my God. It was insane. It was just insane. So there's 3 aliens. There's the little iridescent one.
Right.
Okay. Again, there's the Nordic one, right?
Uh-huh.
And then there's this other guy, and he looks like my ex-boyfriend, my first boyfriend in my entire life.
Wow.
Okay? And I'm going, yeah, and I won't say his name, he's a celebrity. But it looks just like it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God. How is he in my house? Right?
Yeah.
And I look, how is he in my house? And I look at that, and then I go back under the covers, and I hear,
Oh, hell.
and I got the heat in my ear.
Yeah.
You could feel like it was blowing in my ear,
Oh,
like
wow.
the heat in my ear. And I went, oh God, don't kill me. I thought to myself, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Oh no, what do you want with me? What is going on? It's like, I'm thinking it. I didn't say it out loud.
Yeah.
I could hardly speak. I could hardly speak. But it was like, like they blow in your ear. Someone
Right.
blows hot air.
Right.
Holy God. And so I was freaking out. So anyway, I turned around and I thought, I gotta look at them again. And I look at them again, and then the boyfriend thing fades off, and it's another guy.
Oh, wow.
It's a different alien. And he's a tall one with a gray head.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So he's a tall one, gray head with the black eye. And I was like, whoa. So he was masquerading as my ex-boyfriend.
Oh, wow. Almost like
First boyfriend.
almost like
Yeah.
the tricksters, huh? They're like
Right?
they're like tricksters. They manipulate things,
Yeah.
And there's in other words, they got into your head. They already knew, so they were already kind of reading your thoughts, and that's kind of eerie if you really think about it.
Oh, I was really scared. And I couldn't tell the boyfriend at the time. I was engaged, I was going to get married in that house. That's why I was remodeling it. I couldn't tell him because he was like poo-pooing that I was a psychic medium doing readings, and all the neighbors wanted readings from me and everybody, and I was predicting everything, and they're like, June predicted this, and June predicted that. It happened. So he wasn't liking that too much. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I thought I was with him for 5 years. Like, hello, you know who I am. It's not like, So, but it was, took me out of my comfort zone.
Wow.
And again, I went upstairs after this thing. They disappeared after. It was like,
Right.
they were gone. They like totally disappeared
Wow.
in front of my eyes. I mean, I never seen anything like that.
Wow.
Like they're standing there and they were gone.
Wow.
And I tell you, I put the lights on in every freaking room of the house.
Well, I would have.
I had all the lights on. That light bill was heavy duty for the next month.
Wow.
I was like,
Yeah.
Greg's like, what the heck is going on with the light bill? And I'm like, yeah, don't ask me because
Yeah.
you don't want to hear it.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm sure it scared the living heck out of you. You know what I mean? As it would anybody else, especially the hot air blowing in your ear and all that stuff. I mean, kind of weird and eerie at the same time. But, we've come to the end of our show. And, again, thank you for being on the show today and giving us a lot of your insights and a lot of your stories. There's great, amazing stories of things you've experienced with Lier and with the aliens and just being in Area 51. And then, of course, your personal stories as well. Now, where can people find you?
Well, they could find me on, Psychic Medium to the Stars or the Miss UFO. Or on Instagram, it's June DeYoung Official. So JUNEDEYOUNG Official on Instagram. And you can write me in there too, but with your phone number. And my email, you can write JuneDeYoung@gmail.com. So my name at gmail.com. Make it easy for you. So if you need help or anything like that, I'll help you. Because each case is very different. And each person's fear is very different.
Right.
I noticed when I started working with each one of the abductees or contactees, very different.
Exactly.
And, it's a big thing.
Well, thank you again. Thank you for being on the show today. Now, we're going to have another show with you, maybe two more. We're going to talk about, what is it we're going to talk about? Well, it was going to be about...
past life and future life.
Past life regression as well. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that, and that will be
cool.
That's going to be a really cool show. Probably sometime, maybe next week or this week. Well, we'll see what we can do. We're going to pre-record everything, and then we'll have a couple of shows with you, June, and then we'll get these things going. But thank you again for being on the show. I really appreciate you, and I'll add all the links to where people can follow you on this podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
guys, and bye, guys, and lots of love to all of you out there.
Right on. Well, hang on in the background real quick, and then I'll get back with you in just a second. All right?
No worries.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast with Miss June DeYoung. She gave you a lot of information, a lot of insights on things that I didn't even know about Dr. Lier, and it's one of those things you have to, people know people, man, and she knows a lot of folks, and she was around a lot of people, especially in the extraterrestrial world. I mean, Whitney Strieber, all these people, the producer that made Fire in the Sky, of course, he just recently passed. She was around all these people, and she says people that are usually around sci-fi usually have personal experiences, or that's how they get a lot of their ideas and stuff for their films, right? Or shows, just like anything else, like our show here today. But again, thank you guys for sticking around, listening to today's podcast here on Alien Strand Podcast, and listening to on Alien Strand Extras on Patreon. Don't forget to follow us on Patreon. Hit us a like, share it, if you really enjoyed this podcast today. Hope she gave you a lot of information and insights. And if you want to reach out to her, please do. Like I said, I'll put all the links to it on this podcast. You can catch up with her there, and I hope she's able to help you just as much as we can help you as well. We're all here to work together, and we're here going to help one another, and so that way we can be nice, good people, humble, and, just be loving especially. So, again, until then, you guys have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening, and have yourselves a good night.